Campus Reform paid a visit to our lovely New York University last week to ask students what they thought of Trump's speech, and, well, they had something to say. Here, take a listen.
Quite racist at the very least, if not up there with most racist.
Yeah, wow. It's already quickly climbing the scale. Some of the people said today that they thought his immigration stance and that he outlined last night was especially hateful.
Very offensive.
What do you think of it?
It's something that I wouldn't have expected to happen in like our lifetime.
It's offensive. It is crazy, but I'm not shocked by it, by what he's done in the past. So
pretty ugly. I believe what I'm hearing about his rough nature and the hate that he probably said.
He told the Democrats the wall got 10 feet higher because they didn't stand up and give him applause at one point. What do you think of all that?
It's the behavior of someone who refuses to accept accountability for their failures.
The way he acts, you shouldn't be acting like that if you're the leader of the country, regardless of what party you're in. So that frustrates me a lot.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me that was his State of the Union address.
Hopefully everything that he's outlined can be overturned by the public opinion.
Was there one thing in particular that you saw people most upset about?
Probably with immigration going on with the whole DACA thing and him trying to build the wall.
One of the craziest moments when he started a build the wall chant with all the Republicans that were there.
Okay.
People on social media were accusing him of basically using the State of the Union as a campaign event.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
I think it's absolutely crazy.
The fact that he started a chant, he's big on those.
What's your reaction?
I think it reveals that he has the temperament of a 3-year-old.
People, a lot of times, they're trying to say don't listen to what he's saying, and they just want to shut it down just because it's Trump saying it. Do you think they have any ground there?
I don't think so. I think there are enough progressive and intellectual people that really analyze what he's saying.
Do you think he's going to follow through with the things that he promised last night?
I don't know. We'll see. He said he was going to become president. He became president.
That's at this point where we say, smile. You're on candid camera. You know, it always depresses me when people go out and they say, do you know who the president of the United States is? And they give some random weird name, and you think this has got to be made up. But that video was real, and joining us now to discuss it is the man asking the questions in the video, Cabot Phillips. He's the media director for campusreform.org. You know, it's funny in one way, Cabot. It is very funny, and Nan and I and you were laughing about it, but it's really, honestly, if we're going to be serious, pretty depressing.
It's even more depressing when you realize that millennials are now the largest voting bloc in America. And so moving forward, we've got millions of people going to the polls with a warped perception of our political structure. And I think this starts mainly in the classroom when these students, all they hear about in the class is how horrible Donald Trump is. Right. And so there's a pressure there, too, where students, if they go along with Donald Trump, they're ostracized socially, and they risk that, and so they want to go along with this.
And you're at a place like NYU, and we see this at top universities, so-called top universities across the country. These are students who generally have always responded to teacher, you know, right? Teacher says jump, they say how high. So obviously they get in line with the rhetoric because that's going to please the teachers, and they're going to move up the ladder.
Exactly, and the way that you prove how in with the culture you are is by bashing Donald Trump. That's kind of how they get their social currency, if you will. Right. And so in a way, it's almost hard to blame them for feeling that pressure to, oh, I have to go along with this liberal rhetoric. Trump is the worst. Yes, I agree. Yeah, Trump is the worst. State of the Union racist. It's all rhetoric, and they don't realize that when their feelings become more important than facts, they are set back in life. College is now not a place where it's a marketplace of ideas. It's a place of rhetoric. It's a place of falling in line. This is the fault of professors, really, and not preparing students for the role, not fully teaching them and putting a pressure on them where they feel the need to go along with the rhetoric.
I won't argue about I won't argue about the culpability of the professors, but I will say this: it is the responsibility of those kids, all of those kids, even the ones you didn't talk to know what facts are. Facts are easy. And it's like, I don't care, coming up on State of the Union, my co-host tonight is a liberal Democrat who I love talking to and I like having conversations with because they're fact-based discussions and disagreements between us, right? There's no mention in any of this about Trump put on the table an immigration plan for 1.8 million dreamers.
Yeah.
He saw the Democrats and raised them 3 times.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about that. Instead, they're talking about how he's hateful, hates immigrants, and I don't know what he
These
wants.
kids were talking as though they'd already seen, the State of the
Yeah.
Union had already happened. They
I
didn't
know.
even know that it hadn't, and yet they can vote.
And I think this also points out a bigger narrative, too, just from the left of these are people that pride themselves on being the most open-minded segment of society.
Absolutely.
The left, open-minded.
Well, they've been told that.
They've been told that they are, and they may genuinely think they're open-minded, but this shows you can't have an open mind if you've already made your mind up on issues. And so it shows that President Trump could appease to them, he could give them everything they want, and they would still say it's not enough because you're Donald Trump, I hate what you do. Their hatred of him is many times not based on policy. And that's the concerning thing for Republicans to have to deal with, realizing that when the hatred is so deep-seated and it's a personal vitriol they feel towards him, it's harder to win them over with policy, and that's a problem.